Hello and welcome to the EDRM Global Webinar channel. My name is Mary Mack and I'm the CEO and Chief Legal Technologist for EDRM. Today's remote offerings webinar is Remote eDiscovery, Anytime, Anywhere, sponsored by our wonderful Guardian partner, Rico USA. Our faculty expert is Virginia Addison, Solutions Architect for Rico's eDiscovery. We welcome your questions and feedback in the console. All questions are anonymous, and this webinar will be recorded and available for your replay at your convenience. We're very grateful you're spending time with us during these challenging circumstances. EDRM is augmenting our substantive webinars with practical remote ones like this one to support our community as we adapt. Now, a little bit about Virginia, our wonderful presenter today. Virginia Addison's background spans accounting, programming, consulting for some of the largest organizations in the world like Accenture, Deloitte, Navigant, Digital Reef, CACI, and others. Her LinkedIn quote is, "If it weren't for physics and law enforcement, I'd be unstoppable." We need to know more, Virginia. Over to you.
Thank you. I just thought that was a really fun quote. It kind of breaks the ice for everyone because it's true. If it weren't for physics, we'd be able to do anything. We wouldn't have to worry about falling down. And then law enforcement, obviously, I'm sure I probably wouldn't do anything to have to worry about the law enforcement. But, it's just kind of funny. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Today, we're going to talk about the Rico eDiscovery On Demand. It's an online self-service tool that can enhance some of your everyday eDiscovery needs. I'm going to go through a few scenarios and we can discuss ways to solve these new ways to work. So what are we doing now that we aren't able to go into the office? We have to figure out how to get data reviewed for cases and even produced still. In this scenario, I'm going to kind of lay out a little, thing. Most people don't probably have kids at home, but just in case, just pretend. We're at home, we have the kids running around the house, and we have to work odd hours. And that's mostly because we have to homeschool the kids, help them with their schoolwork, things like that. Where's your teacher pay for that, of course, too. And then number two, we're typically having to do work later at night because those kids go to bed and then we have a little bit more free time. The biggest problem, though, is that some key people are offline and we have to collaborate with them on these projects. So what are we doing? Rico eDiscovery On Demand is based in the Microsoft Azure cloud. You can get to the online system as long as you have internet, which means 24/7 even from home. And you can collaborate with others. That data that your client emails you, you can upload it from home as well, too. Here's the login screen, and it's available on multiple web browsers. I'm using Google Chrome, but you can use Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, Safari, Firefox, and any of the other HTML5 compliant web browsers. So you have a coworker that you need to collaborate with on this project. Well, you can add users on the fly. Just input a few key pieces of information, their email, their name, and their phone number. You want to restrict what kind of access they can do in the system? We have that too. Just select from 5 different user types. The 5 user types are global admin. These are users that have access to everything for the client. Project admins, these users have access to everything for specific cases. Users have access to upload, cull, and search data, as well as review and tag that data just for specific cases. Reviewers, they can actually cull, search the data, and then review and tag for specific cases. And lastly, we have an uploader, and they can upload data for just specific cases. Here I've inputted John Smith's information, and I'm making him a reviewer for 2 cases. From here, I would just click the Create button at the bottom right. Another great way to use Rico eDiscovery On Demand is to create temporary uploaders. Say a client has data for you at 9 p.m. and you need to get the data uploaded tonight. You don't want to have to worry about the handoff where they FTP it to you, you FTP it to someone else, and then worry that it's not going to get up in time. Under what's called the case launchpad, next to an existing case is an envelope button. This window will pop open whenever you click on it, and it'll let you put in the temporary uploader's information. You can use existing email addresses that you've already used, or you can invite someone new by typing in this box, typing in the box next to the checkbox. Lastly, you can actually give them some instructions and then set the link to expire if they don't click on it. Then you just hit send invitation. And that person will get an email with a link to the case, and then they can upload the data directly. Another thing to note for review cases is we have minimal settings. Basically, you just select a time zone, how to handle exceptions, things like password-protected items and corrupt files. And if you know you have passwords, go ahead and put them in the box provided. And to finish off creating cases, you just have to browse or drag and drop the data. For example, I can click the Browse button here to open a Windows Explorer window and then point to the files. Or I can drag and drop the files into the rectangle here. What's great is there's no more handing off to maybe a PM or a lit support person and waiting or hoping that they're still working as late as you are that night. A lot of things that we're trying to figure out is how to be more productive in the hours that we have in the day working from home. We need to work more efficiently to get what we need done while working around the kids or maybe even others who have kids' schedules. In this scenario, we're similar to the last one, but we have depositions to do the next day, and you need to get the data reviewed and tagged for the depositions tomorrow. I still hear some people saying they use Outlook for review, but in this case, that's going to take too long, and it's also wrought with that human error aspect. So what do we do? When you upload the data to Rico eDiscovery on demand, it will index the data in order to keep it organized and remove that human error aspect. Remember those settings? That's all the choices that you'll need to make to get the case set up and the data indexed. Then the browse or drag and drop, that's all you have to do to get the data uploaded. So what happens next? The data will be available online after indexing to do culling and searching, as well as you can tag for depositions tomorrow. On this screen, you'll see the document viewer on the right. This can be popped out to another screen if you have dual monitors. And then to the left is where you tag documents. You can create and customize your tags as well. We just got a call from the client, and they have additional data for the 2 deponents in tomorrow morning's depositions. You look at the clock, and it's 8 p.m., excuse me, not 8 a.m. And sigh, oh, who's going to be able to help you now? So what do? As before, we need to get the data indexed, but we also need to organize the data for the depositions, both on who you want to discuss the documents with and why. Remember in that last example, we talked about tagging documents? Well, you can create tags for each deponent so that you can sort the documents on who you need to discuss them with, as well as you can create tags on what the document is responsive to or maybe what issue it addresses. So it's the next day. We've tagged the documents and we're ready to start discussing these documents with the deponent. How do we get to them? If you see here, I have a search for tags named Virginia Addison. When I run this, it will bring back all the documents that I tagged last night for that deponent, Virginia Addison. Here's the document list that was returned after I run the search. You can also see that I can include the entire family if perchance maybe the tags aren't being propagated to the family, which is maybe emails and attachments. That's what we would call a family. So maybe attachment was tagged but not the email, and I'd want to be able to discuss that entire package with the deponent. Checking this box and rerunning the search would bring back that entire family. While talking through the document, the deponent mentions an email that they haven't seen in the documents that you're discussing. And it's about a lunch meeting that was very key to this case. So they give you a few things to look for. In this example, I ran a keyword search for lunch. Here are the documents that were brought back from the search. You can look through these and determine which documents that the deponent is describing and on the fly, tag it for that deponent as well as for relevance to the case. Now, for the last scenario, you've reviewed the documents and identified the ones that you need to produce, but you still need to redact and create that PDF production. Normally, you would do this by hand using Adobe, but you've got the kids at home and trying to figure out how to do things more efficiently still. What do? Rico eDiscovery On Demand has tip on the fly with redactions available for those documents that require redactions. In review mode, you can use the viewer. I'm going to pop this out to a new window, clicking this button, so that I can maximize the real estate on my second screen. In the new window, you'll see that I have a full text of the file. In this case, I want to go to the tip of the document. When I click on this tab, it will create a tip image on the fly. When I hit refresh, I now have an image. You'll see some page controls that I'll be able to, let me go back to that. So you'll see some page controls to be able to view the different pages in the file. This button actually activates that redaction mode. And then when I click on the redaction mode, these buttons will appear. You can create redactions, such as the ones that you see here. I created a black redaction with a white redaction partially over it. You can use those orange squares to resize it. And here you can see that I have exactly what I wanted underneath the redaction. You can also create your own redactions with text. So in this example, I created a redaction with the word privileged in white and a black redaction. I called it priv and gave it the reason privileged. The reason will also be searchable in case I need to search for these types of redactions later. Once I'm finished, I would just hit the Save button at the top left. When I switch back to full text, you'll see that the document is in queue for OCR and a refresh button. The tip image that we just redacted has been submitted for OCR so that no redacted information will be produced. After hitting refresh, here's the OCR that matches that redacted image. Now that I'm finished creating my redactions, how do I create that production, that PDF production? First, I'm going to run the responsive tag search, or whatever tag that you use to indicate that the document needs to be produced. You'll notice that I checked the Include Families checkbox, and that's because I want to make sure that the entire package gets produced. Then I'm going to click the Send to Production button over here to the right, and this will allow me to set up the production. The first screen allows you to select what type of production you'd like to create. I've selected PDF services. You'll notice that the Create Images down at the bottom is grayed out and that Yes is selected, and that's only because we need images to create PDF. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And now that I've selected the documents and started the production, I need to do some base labeling. Here is the production settings page. This section is where you select the Bates numbering and endorsements. When I pop it open, you'll see that the first choice is how to sort the documents before assigning Bates numbers. This allows either the original processing order or in chronological order. Next is setting up the Bates number. Give the Bates prefix, which I've used XYZ. If you wanted a delimiter in between the prefix and the number, I've selected a dash. And then next is the starting number and any leading zeros so that when you sort the PDFs, they'll be sorted correctly. I can also endorse that Bates number on the page. There are 6 positions you can see here. TL is top left, TC top center, top right, bottom left, bottom center, and bottom right, which I've selected as the bottom right or lower right. You can also add additional messages. So I've added attorney eyes only to the top center position. And lastly, we have some advanced endorsement settings so that you can set up things like tag-based endorsement. Say something's confidential and that's the only thing that should get a confidential endorsement. We can set that up with a tag. Next is I'm going to give it a volume ID. This and the base number will be remembered and incremented the next time that you try to create a production from the case. All right, so we've created the production, saved labels, and submitted it to be created. Now what do? Now we need to get it to opposing counsel. While we aren't in the office, so we don't have someone to help maybe burn it to a disk or a drive of some sort, how can we get this easily to opposing counsel? On the case launchpad, you can click the download button to get to the production that we just created. This is what the volume looks like. You have the volume ID that we assigned it, information about the production, and then you can download it to your computer. Here's being downloaded to the downloads folder. From here, you could actually FTP it to opposing if you'd like, or we can actually set up what's called a temporary downloader. You can see that there's a little share button next to the Created by Virginia Addison. When you click on it, it'll pop open the temporary downloader screen, and it's very similar to that temporary uploader screen. You can select from people you've already used, or you can check the checkbox and type in their email address if they're new, give them instructions just like the uploaders, and then set their link to download to expire in a certain number of days. And it's as simple as that. Just hit send invitation. So quick summary. We basically can have 24/7 access even from home. You can add users as needed to the case. You can process data, index it for searching, culling, tagging, and review. You can create productions as well as sharing those productions. And there's a lot of other things to do in this very simple to use tool. So now I'm going to open it up for questions. I know Mary's been kind of keeping an eye out for some of those. Do we have any questions, Mary?
We certainly do, and thank you. Thank you. You just created a production after doing a review in, what, 15 minutes? Fabulous.
15 minutes,
Fabulous.
Woohoo! So calling efficiency.
Exactly, exactly. So what kind of files can Rico On Demand handle for upload, and is there a size limit?
So we don't have, so I'll start with the size limit. We actually don't care how much data you upload. It's going to depend on your probably internet speeds, things like that. So definitely if you're on a Wi-Fi connection, probably the smaller the better. If for any reason there is perhaps maybe a really large file, we can talk about how to transfer that to us so that we can get it uploaded on the back end, because we have high-speed pipelines that we can get it uploaded for you. As far as file types, so using all browsers, we basically ask for container files, so zip files, RAR files, PST files, which are emails, in Outlook. We even take inboxes from Apple computers natively. That's the container file for Apple email. And a variety of others, and I can give you a full list, whoever that is, if you would like to. Just in the next slide, I'm going to pop up an email address, and you can just shoot us an email. I can give you a full list. We even take some forensic image files as well, too. So, and I think that's everything.
Fantastic. And then, Virginia, I'm assuming that you need to have some sort of account to be able to create users and things like that. That's not something that you would recommend doing on a weekend, is it?
Setting up a user, I mean, we do have some people that are still working on the weekends, especially if we know there's something crazy going on, but we would prefer to try to do that during normal business hours, so that way if you're having any issues, we can also give you some training and that type of stuff. So we would suggest trying to do it during the week, but if you know something's coming up on the weekend and you're not sure, maybe let us know. We'll still get you set up and maybe some training, so that way you can use it over the weekend.
Fabulous. Fabulous. And the security, talk to us about the security in here. You showed me some nice roles, admin, project admin, etc., and how you're securing the system.
Sure. So from a top level, so we have it in the Microsoft Azure Cloud, which has all of the Microsoft intrusion protection. I'm going to give a high level, but if anybody wants some details, let me know, or email the email address I'm about to pop up here, I'll just pop it up now. But go ahead and email us. We'll give you some more details if you'd like. But we have the Microsoft intrusion protection that protects our data in their data centers. We also have encryption in transit, encryption at rest, and then inter-application encryption as well too. We also, for logins, we do a dual factor authentication, so you'd get that email that has a second, basically passcode that you can put in. So from that level, there's the security. As far as, the different users, the things that users can be able to do, you can, go down to maybe even tags. You can actually lock down what tags they can even read or change. So, it's two different kind of things that they can do there. And then the other, factors are things like some the users can't create productions, they can't upload data, things like that, so that you can kind of lock down what they actually can and can't do. So that's where, the security lies, basically.
Fabulous, fabulous. So back to file types. You'd mentioned that Rico handles the container files. And even forensic files, so you would handle like a EO1 file if a forensic examiner needed something done over the weekend?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, they just have to be together when you upload them, and it will recognize that it's an image. You just have to make sure all of the pieces are there. So yes, so E01, I'd have to double check all of the different forensic files that we can take, but it's quite a few of them. And what's great, too, is it denists and dedupes, so that way you can get rid of, all those system program files and stuff, too. So.
Oh, yeah, but those forensic images of a laptop or something like that, yeah, they can really add the volume. So that's great that you can take that out from the beginning over the weekend. And teams that need to change their coding regime, they're able to do that with the correct permissions?
Yeah, definitely. So, you can create tags, as well as they can be locked down so that maybe if you just want somebody to be able to search for a specific tag and that's it, they'd be able to look for, that specific tag and that's it. They can't change it, nothing. So maybe you wanted to let somebody just kind of log in, like maybe one of the deponents, and just say, yeah, this is the email I was talking about, and then, use that as well, too. So. And they can create their own.
Go ahead, Virginia.
They can create their own tags as well, too. So.
Yeah, that's very, very important. I have worked on a couple of systems that force you to send that in as a request to change tags. So that's great that you're able to do that in the moment over the weekend while you're trying to prepare for your depot. Beautiful, beautiful. So Virginia, if people want to learn more about your remote offerings here, how would they contact you?
Sure. So I have the contact information for our eDiscovery sales group. Myself as well, too. I guess I probably could have put that up here as well, too. But I'm Virginia.Addison at Rico-USA.com. That's Virginia.Addison at Rico-USA.com. So there's another email address if anybody wants to ping me for additional information or questions.
Yes, and the one on the screen is sales@Rico-eDiscovery.com for those of you who are listening. And well, this has been a fabulous presentation, Virginia, with the scenarios that you've painted of somebody working over the weekend, trying to get ready for a depot on Monday, and I feel like I can do this myself, like right now. So thank you very much for demonstrating your ease of use. We're very grateful to Rico USA, our guardian partner, for making you available to us. And we thank the entire EDRM community for your kind attention. And we'll be having you back, Virginia. Thank you very much. And we'll see all of you the next time on the EDRM Global Webinar channel.
Cool. Thank you.